Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Welcome to Learning World, this week again from Beirut. Low-cost schools, it is a trend in learning that is making a big impact in developing countries. The growth of these schools shows how fostering economic development can be a matter for private enterprise as well as government institutions. In Asunción, Paraguay, the privately financed San Francisco Rural School has become a pioneering model of self-sufficiency for the young people living in this poor area.
So many people have moved away from Paraguay's rural areas that nowadays nearly 30% of the population, that's 2 million people, live in the capital, Asunción. But for many of them, the dream of life in the big city has turned sour. Agro shopping is the largest organic market in the city. Here, 17-year-old Maria Antonia sells vegetables produced by her classmates.
For us, agro shopping is an opportunity to sell goods because we sell whatever we produce to fund our school. We work in order to study. My family can't afford to pay for me to go to a normal school.
The San Francisco school is auto-financing as a result of a partnership with the Fundación Paraguaya.
We feel that a 160-acre farm on good land with appropriate initial investment can generate enough profit to keep the school running.
The pupils work on the small holding growing vegetables for about half the school day. The profits go to finance the running of the school, which also prides itself on its academic results.
Here the teaching is intensive. We get both theory and practice, both of them. In a public school, I think that's rare. People leave the countryside and go to the city for, I don't know what. There's nothing for them in the city. In the country there are lots of things. So the idea is to keep them here, stop them moving away from their communities.
These children all share the same dream, a solid education. They're proud of their achievements in financing their own school, and the experience opens doors in the food industry, in marketing and tourism. Better still, old girls and boys of the school can in their turn get microfinancing from the Fundación Paraguaya to set up their own businesses.
In recent years, Professor James Tooley has been working in Ghana and India, helping low-cost private schools in poor areas to raise education standards and get access to loan schemes to invest.
Low-cost schools are vital in developing countries where state education is often either non-existent or too expensive for most people.
In a nutshell, what you're finding in the slums and the shanty towns in many African countries, in India and elsewhere now, you're finding that the poor are not acquiescing in the mediocrity of state education. They're sending their children to private schools that are set up by entrepreneurs in the slums themselves. They may be charged $2, $3, $4 equivalent per month, and they're serving the very poor. They're outperforming the government schools. Our research has shown that, and they're doing it for a fraction of the cost.
French school. Right. It's now closed. It's closed because of the water.
The entrepreneurs were typically, I think, of three types. One could have been a mother, typically a young woman, who has her own children and creates a nursery school around her 2 or 3 children, brings in the neighbours. After a couple of years, they're due to go to grade 1. So she starts grade 1, and before you know it, she's grade 5, and then up to grade 10. That's one sort of school. A second sort of school has been founded by typically a young man or a young woman who starts a tutorial class, a tuition class, a cramming class, if you like, for class 10 exam students. And they will come to him or her and say, well, actually, we're learning much more from you than we are from school. Why don't we come to you full-time? And then he starts going down from 10, 9, 8. And before you know it, there's a school there. A third type of entrepreneur would be someone who just sees there's a market here now. He or she may have done something completely different before, usually from the community itself, and just says, well, actually, a school seems to be a reasonable business to run. I get social standing, I get respect in the community, and I can be sure of a small income. So those are typically the types of entrepreneur.
Now an example of this trend. For the underprivileged families living in the slums around Nairobi, Kenya, a good education is the only way to escape the poverty cycle. Fortunately, over the past decade, local entrepreneurs have found ways to provide affordable, high-quality education for the poorest people.
Around Nairobi, free state schools are thin on the ground, and private schools charge fees which most families can't afford. But now, a new type of school has emerged: independently operated, low-cost schools. The Kenyan Independent School Association coordinates these new private schools, and there are now 1,500 of them, serving more than 500,000 deprived children.
The Ministry of Education, through the Kenyan government, has assisted more than 300 schools in our membership. They have given them money to buy school supplies. It is called free primary education in Kenya. So the money has been extended to them, and they have managed to buy textbooks. Although they're not enough, but they have managed to buy textbooks to help the children.
One of these schools is here in the Soweto slum area, just 7 kilometers from Nairobi's bustling central business district. Originally just a kindergarten and a couple of temporary classrooms, it has expanded over the years and now provides both primary and secondary education in 22 classrooms to 1,200 students.
Our parents send their children here, one, because of lack of planning for public school in this area, in the informal settlement area where we are, and two, good academic performance for our students, and three, the inefficiency because of big numbers of children in classes and few teachers in the public schools.
This primary school charges just 23 euros a term in an area where the average wage is around 6 euros a day. This covers both tuition and exam fees and is enough to make the school self-sustaining. Best of all, the school achieves good results, especially in the national exams, scoring a grade above the national average.
We will be back next week with different stories from the world of education. You can find all our episodes on our website.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.